won't make this lesson long because I know it's late. People gotta go home. I know the brothers gotta go back to the road too, got to go out there. But after we're done going through the scriptures and we have a good understanding of what we're doing, all right, we're gonna do brotherhood and its sisterhood, hopefully, and eat, drink, and enjoy as part of the place of getting here. All right, so let's get into it. Let's read Colossians 3 and verse 17.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever we do in word or deed, do all in the name of the item one Hamashiach Yahushua. Give it thanks to Yahweh and offer by him.
So everything we do in the name of Hamashiach Yahushua, we do in the call of Jesus Christ. Right? You might hear me say that a lot, but it's very important that we make that clear difference. Right? When somebody understands, if somebody new comes through this door, they have to understand that we don't worship like Jesus, right? We don't do the whole Sunday Christianity, right? We are the real Christians according to the Bible. We do what Christ did, right? We preach the law, we keep the Sabbath days, we keep feast of dedication, we keep the Passover, all of the things that Christ did, that's what we do. We don't mimic what the churches do, right? The so-called Christians. We are the real Christians according to the Bible, right? So give me Romans 11 and verse 1. Romans 11 and verse 1. See what that says.
The book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 1.
Right, read.
I say then, have God cast away his people?
Right, I say then, has God cast away his people?
The Most High forbid.
The Most High forbid. Right, because we forgot about the new moons and the Sabbaths and the high holy days. Right, we forgot about these days. Now that we're getting it back, now we're going to celebrate these things in righteousness. And we have to be delighted to do so. Right? I always bring out my famous scripture, Isaiah 58 and 13. It talks about if you want to ride the high places of the earth, that we have to be delighted to keep these Sabbath days. We have to be delighted to keep the new moons, the Passover. Right? If you went hard in the world to celebrate Christmas and Halloween and Thanksgiving, you got to go 10 times as harder for the Most High. Right? We got to put that much energy in. We can't come to new moon. Oh, I'm tired today, brother. Right? Well, I've been working all day. I've been at camp all day, brother. No, we got to make sure that we do it joyfully, right? Because this is how we got to captivity in the first place. We took all of these things for granted, right? We took these things for granted. We took the new moons for granted. All right, I'll just skip the new moons. We don't do that anymore. Now that we're getting our heritage back, we got to make sure we go hard on these days and have a good time doing it. Right? Have a good time doing it. The Most High gave us these days for a reason. It's a reason why all these holy convocations are in place. Because he wants us to gather together. Right? It doesn't say on the new moon you stay home. Right? You don't stay home on the new moon unless you're on clean or something like that. Right? You don't stay home on the Sabbath day unless you're on clean or something like that. Right? You gotta come to the holy convocation, gather yourselves together. Right? Scriptures is very big on that, right? Read the rest of that. Let's get Zechariah.
I say then, have the Most High cast away his people? Right? Most High forbid.
God forbid. We still here. The Israelites are still on this earth. Right? Read on.
For I also am an Israelite of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Right. So we know that we are the Israelites. Being an Israelite means there's an heritage attached to that. Right? You don't just say I'm an Israelite, or you just don't say I'm a Christian. Right? If we call ourselves real Christians, we got to make sure we're doing the right thing. And we call ourselves Israelites, there's a heritage attached to the name Israelite or being a Hebrew. Right? We look at what our forefathers did. What was given to our forefathers? Our forefathers was given the new moons, the Passovers. Right? So we got to do these same things. Right? So drop that Zechariah 2:1 or Zephaniah 2:1. Y'all get stuff together. Let's see what that says. All right. So when we come to these moons, go out. Zechariah 2:1. All right. So when we come to these new moons, be happy that we're here. All right. You're gonna have those days where new moons and these high holy days fall back to back.
Yeah.
Oh, go on. All right. These things are very important. It's back-to-back gathering together. All right? Back-to-back gathering together. What does that mean? This is bonding time, right? Talks about these feast days. I said it before, a family that eats together does what? They stay together, right? This gives you time to bond. This gives you time to get to know one another, to become that family, because we know that our families have left us hanging. When you start talking about this truth to your family don't want to hear this. You start saying, listen, we got to keep the Sabbath day together, right? We got to keep Hanukkah, Feast of Dedication, right? They don't want to do that. They rather do what the world is doing. But remember, right? They want to do what the world is doing. Give me John 15. Hold that. Give me John 15. I believe that's John 15 and 18. Yeah, I read that earlier today. Let's see. 15, 18. So John 15 and verse 18. Let's see what that says.
The book of John, chapter 15, verse 18.
All right.
If the world hate you,
read that again.
If the world hate you,
if the world hates you, right? Because we know when we come to this truth, right? People are going to start hating you, right? They're not going to want you around them. They'll be like, oh, there go that brother again, right? Don't call brother, Yahweh over here. He's going to start talking about some scriptures. That's right. Right? We don't want him at the function. He's going to ruin the party. Right? But we can't help it because what? Oil don't mix with water. Right? Righteousness does not mix with filth. You can't put clean and dirty together. Right? So read that again.
If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you.
We know that it's not only us you hate. You hated the Most High first. Right? We only telling you what the Most High wanted us to do when we talk about the new moons and the Sabbaths. The Most High commanded us, the children of Israel, to do these things. But they don't want to hear that. They hate you for these things. Because you're trying to be righteous. You're trying to separate yourself from the filth of this world. Right? Read on.
If ye were of the world, the world would love his own.
If we were of this world, the world would love us. Right? If we were talking about, hey man, a man and a man can get together. If we were saying that, they would love us. Right? If we're saying a woman and a woman to lay down on each other, they would love us. Right? But we're not doing that. We're telling you what the Most High says. Right? Same thing with the high holy days, new moons, the Sabbaths. Right? So when we tell them that, they're not of the Most High, they're of the world. That's why they're against us. That's why they're contrary. Right?
But because ye are not of the world,
right?
But I have chosen you out of the world.
He chose us out of the world. Read on.
Therefore, the world hated you.
So know when you come into this truth, everybody's not going to like you. Right? I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You can't be liked by everybody when you come into the truth. People will hate you, and you got to get used to them. So what? Right? Go ahead. When I was in Christianity, everybody knows. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Call Brother Mark, he got a good spirit on you. Yeah. Right? But when you try to do the right thing, it's like, oh, I see. There's a difference now. When I was doing, I could be a Christian. See, the thing about Christianity, they don't have rules to what they do. They can do whatever they want to do. As long as you be to church on Sunday, they have the club, and, doing all type of wickedness on Saturday night, right? Smoking, fornicating, all these things. They doing all of that. Go to church on Sunday, everybody loves you for that. When you say, look, man, we got to hold back from some of these things we got going on, right? They don't want to hear that, so they're going to hate you. They're going to hate you when you start telling them to keep the Sabbath day, the new moon. They're going to hate you when you say put your fringes on or wrap your hair, put your dress on. They're going to hate you for that. All right? So we have to be mindful when we come in the truth that everybody's not, and it's going to come from your own family. It's going to, and that's what's going to hurt you. Right? Your own family is going to disown you for you loving God. Right? For you showing true love to the Most High. They're not going to like that. Right? So drop that. Let's go back to Zechariah or Zephaniah 2:1.
Zephaniah 2:1. gather yourselves together.
Right?
Yea, gather together.
Right?
O nation not desired.
O nation not desired. Right? We're going to be hated anyway. So now everybody that's hated, we need to gather together. There's no reason for you to be hated by yourself. Let them hate us as a group. Right? Because when you hate it by yourself, you're going to be pressured like, oh man, I'm by myself. I need to go back. I need to go back to my old way. I like when everybody was loving me. I like when people called me to the functions. Right? I don't expect to call to the functions. Right? I don't expect that call. You know, I have family members that might try to call and say, hey, just come, for example, Halloween. Hey, just come through. You know, we are going to get together. It won't be Halloween decorations. Right? We know how you feel about Halloween. Nobody's dressing up in costume, but we're just getting together on Halloween. And then when you get there, right, I didn't go, by the way, but when you get there, they got all type of spiders and pumpkins and all these things going on, right? Orange and black, but we don't celebrate Halloween. They try to be conniving with it. They don't, and listen, your family's not going to take what you're doing seriously. They don't take this as serious as you do, right? But the scripture say, give me Matthew 5 and verse 11. It's another scripture I use there. Right? It talks about us being that light to the world. What you got, bro? Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that right after we do this. Start at verse 11, 5 and 11.
Book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 11.
Salaka, 1 second. Let me read this. Start at verse. Start at 14.
Book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14.
Salakia, let's start at 11. My bad. Salakia. We'll read it. 10? Yeah, start at 10.
Okay, verse 10.
Start at verse 10. Hallelujah.
Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake.
You hear that? That's what the Most High, that's Christ saying. Blessed are they that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. That's what we do all day. They persecute us, make you feel like you're in the wrong, make you feel like something's wrong with you. Right? And you know you're not crazy in your mind.
Yeah.
You're telling me that I'm wrong for loving the Most High, keeping the commandments? Because I adorn myself, I'm not showing off my body. I have respect for my brothers and my sisters. I'm telling them don't sell drugs, don't prostitute themselves. And you hate me for that. Right? I'm telling you to separate from a people that have raped, robbed, and murdered you for hundreds and thousands of years, but you hate me for that. All right? That's what you gotta understand what's gonna come along with this truth. You read it?
For theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Blessed
are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely, for my sake.
Right? So that's a perfect example. They'll call you the devil. They see you wearing the fringe. Oh, that's the devil. You the devil the Bible speak of. Exactly. All right. All type of false sins. You calling me evil. You calling me the devil. When I'm trying to walk in the light. Right. When I'm trying to walk after the commandments, you're calling us the devil. That's what they do. Right. When they see us celebrating the new moon and the Sabbath and things like this, listen, it's gonna come with the territory. All right, but we got to keep our head down and we got to make sure that we're looking and focusing on the Most High at all times. All right, we don't
rejoice and be exceeding glad.
Right, so when these things happen, when you get hated and they push you out, right, you know,
for great is your reward in heaven.
For great is your reward in heaven. Your reward is going to come. Right, you just have to endure it until the end. Don't faint, because you have a lot of people in this truth right now that are fainting, elders and all. Do not faint. And if you see me faint, come look for me. Right? Come get me. Because I'm going off. All right, read on.
For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you.
Right?
Ye are the salt of the earth.
Right? So you got to pay attention to that. Sorry. On that one scripture above that. What it said the prophets were persecuted before us, just like us. So if they did that to the prophets, what do we think is going to happen to us? We think we're going to get a smooth, you know, a warm, welcoming, hey, we miss you, prophet, where you been? They're not going to say that. It's a reason why the prophets were persecuted. right? Because we're not of this world, right? We don't.
Ye are the salt of the earth.
Uh-huh.
But if the salt have lost his savor,
Right?
wherewith shall it be salted?
We are the salt of the earth. The children of Israel, the Israelites, right? When we put on our garments and things of that nature, put on our dresses, our head wraps, right? We know that we are the salt of the earth. Right? We don't.
It is thenceforth good for nothing,
Right? We don't.
but to be cast out,
Uh-huh.
and to be trodden under foot of men.
Right? You read it?
Ye are the light of the world.
Ye are the light of the world. Remember, ye are the light of the world, the children of Israel, Israelites, the ones keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Ye are the light of the world. Never forget that. Because the world is full. Matter of fact, hold that. Give me 1 John 5:19. The world is full of darkness and wickedness. All right? Let's see what that says. 1 John 5:19. It's a lot. Bear with me. Go ahead, read it when you got it up.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5, and verse 19.
Uh-huh.
And we know that we are of the Most High.
We know that we are of the Most High. Right? When they hate us, we know that we are of the Most High. We don't.
And the whole world.
The what?
The whole world.
No, some of the world.
The whole world.
The whole entire earth, the whole globe, the entire planet. Right? We don't.
Lieth in wickedness.
It lies in wickedness. Right? So when you're preaching against America, the traditions of America, the doctrines that they have spread across the earth, the philosophies that they have spread, right? Make you feel like you're the one going mental because you're against the traditions of the world. Right? Just know that we are the children of God and the entire earth lies in wickedness.
With that said, something I have to remember too. Most I made 18 nations.
Yes.
And 17 of them is going to be the wicked. So that's a lot more.
Absolutely.
And 2/3 of the one nation is still going to be wicked.
That's a very good point. A very good point. Right? You said that. That's a very good point. Right? So and remember what I said earlier is that the Most High is not dealing with numbers like that.
Yeah.
Right? That's a perfect example of that. Right? A lot of people are going to have to die in the last days. And people don't, the church is not telling these people that, right? They hated the prophets for telling them the truth. Listen, I'm telling you, when Christ returns, a lot of people will die. When God returns, if you're continuously being a wicked man, a wicked woman, you shall die. Right? What you got here, brother? Revelation 1:7. Let's look at it. Come on. This young brother pulls precepts all the time. Out of the mouth of babes. Right? It's a very powerful thing right there. Special brother. Let's get it. Come on, let's get it. Here is not happy one right there.
The book of Revelations, chapter 1, and verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds.
Behold, he cometh with clouds. What are those clouds talking about? Remember we talking about the clouds. Those cherubs. He's coming back with the cherubs. Right? Read on.
And every eye shall see him.
Every eye is going to see him. Right? Everybody on this earth, the righteous and the wicked. Right? Read on.
And they also which pierced him.
They also which pierced him. The ones that crucified Christ and his prophets, his servants. They're going to see this man. All right? What you got?
Yes.
No, I got you.
There's a lot of people on around. I say by 75%. Right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wrong, but there's a lot of people that don't, the people that is not in the truth. A lot of people don't understand that when the Most High comes,
Yeah.
it's just not going to be him and the church, but he also have a pet, the Lebanon. And a lot of people don't know that. The
Or
Devagar,
what?
the
Leviathan, the
Leviathan,
All of these are,
Arbitrates.
yes, all of these
A
things
lot
are.
of people don't know that. You know, people think it's gonna be him.
Right.
It's way more.
He used when Christ returns to this earth, it's gonna be multiple instruments used to destroy the wicked. Right? When we talked about earlier World War III, right? It's only gonna be Christ, the Most High is gonna be using multiple instruments that He has created to destroy wicked men.
And remember this movie like Godzilla and everything?
Yeah.
Few people know what's going on. It was awesome. They didn't know what it was.
Right, they know.
Godzilla, so they have to tell you, they know what's coming.
Uh-huh.
Independence Day, big old church, they know what's coming. What they do? They don't care. They still just want to make money.
Yeah.
But just trying to keep us out of the shoot.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So that, the most I is telling you that he heard us.
Hallelujah.
We were just talking about what you just brought forward.
I'm just trying to say the name out right.
Yeah, no, we got it. We got you. That's how the Spirit moves. Right? That's how the Spirit moves. We were just literally, before you walked in, we were talking about it. And you bring it right back up. That's the Spirit, man. Right? So read verse 7 again.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him,
Right?
and they also which pierced him,
They also gonna have to face Christ. Read on.
and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him.
Right?
Even so, among.
So all of these people are gonna be crying. Right? All of these people. But they understand that at that point they're gonna realize, okay, it's not a game. This is not a joke. What them brothers been talking about on the street for a long time, it's finally here. Right? It's finally here. So we gotta understand that when we're on the street and we're preaching these things, remember the scriptures don't go out void. Right? We may sit there talking for 2 hours and we don't encounter anybody. But the words do not go out void. It does what it needs to do and it returns back to its place. All right? So jump back. Matthew 5. Like I said, I'm not gonna make this lesson too long. We're trying to get drinks and food and dwelling brother and hood and sister, so I don't want to make it too late.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 14.
Yes.
Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
It can't be hid. The Israelites are not going to be able to be hid. Right? When you're wearing your garment, they're going to know exactly who you are. Right? We just walked out of the store at Publix and the brother approached us and said, Shalom. Right? They know exactly. When you wearing your fringes and you moving in a certain way, they're going to know exactly who you are. Right? Those brothers are Israelites right there. Right? Read on.
Neither do men light a candle,
right,
and put it under a bushel,
right,
but on a candlestick. And it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
Right, so that light is supposed to give, light to the entire house. That's what we're made to do, right? We have to make our light shine bright. When we talk about the Sabbaths and the new moons, right? We talk about our family that they don't want us around. So when we talk about showing our light, maybe we got to do Hanukkah better, right? Maybe we got to hold a piece of dedication in our house better. Decorate your homes, right? Decorate yourselves. Make sure they understand that the new moons are nothing to be played around with. When they talk about the Sabbaths, it's nothing to be played around with, right? Passover, let them know. Let them see you in your glorious garments, and your head wraps, and your dresses. Let them see that, because then they're going to start saying, man, this is something different. The light is over here, right? Read on.
16. Let your light so shine before men,
right,
that they may see your good works.
That they see the good works, those good works, the things, the fruit of what the Most High has taught us, right? So they can see these things. Because everybody thinks, like, when they talk about Israelites, right, we just get a bad rap, right? Oh, them are racist. But they don't talk about the other side behind them. They don't talk about the brotherhood and the sisterhood. They don't talk about the convocations and the food and the good times, the laughter, right? The safety, knowing each other, everybody got each other's back. They don't talk about that stuff, man, right? They only show when they boo you on YouTube, you see a brother, getting at a white dude. They only show that part. Right? They don't talk about when we in the hood telling our people you can't be doing certain things or not eating pork, taking care of yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit. All right? So we gotta let that light shine. Right?
And glorify your Father which is in heaven.
And glorify our Father which is in heaven. All right? So when we talk about these things, make sure you put it on Front Street. All right? Let them know. Feast of Dedication is around that time. I won't be at the function, but you can gladly come to mine. All right? I will welcome you, and there'll be food, everything there. Come through. Put a garment on. I'll give you some fringes. All right? Let them come through to yours. All right? So drop that. Give me let me get Proverbs 6 and 23. And then we'll jump into the New Moon scriptures.
Proverbs 6 and 23.
Right, remember, so we talked about in 1 John chapter 5 and verse 19 how the whole world lieth in wickedness, that darkness. All right. So according to the scriptures, what is light? Right? The commandments. Right? Showing them that we're keeping the commandments, putting them on Front Street, showing them our good works. Right? So read Proverbs 6 and 23.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp.
The commandment is a what?
Is a lamp.
The commandment is a lamp in this world that's full of darkness. Because we know that there's no light. We know that there's no truth, no mercy, right? No knowledge of God. Right? According to Hosea chapter 4. We know that there's none of these things. So we have to let that light shine. All right? We know.
And the law is light.
And the law is light. Right? All of these things, the new moon is a law. Right? Everybody understand that? Right. Keeping the new moon is a law from the Heavenly Father. Right? So we got to make sure we're keeping these new moons and these Sabbaths. Right? That's it on them, right? So drop that. Let's get Numbers 10 and 10. Right. Numbers 10 and verse 10. All of these things are very important. Remember, these things were stripped away from us at one point. So when they're stripped away, and the Most High has allowed us to understand these things, we got to make sure we do this 10 times harder, man. We got to go hard for these days. All right? Don't be lazy. Don't half-step it. Because the Most High said, okay, you want to take my high holy days in vain? You can have a good day. All right? That happens to people all the time. Don't take these days in vain. All right, so what you got?
The book of Numbers, chapter 10 and verse 10. Also, in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days.
In our solemn days, right? Read on.
And in the beginnings of your months.
In the beginnings of our months, right? Read on.
You shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings.
Right, so how do we know what the beginning of our months are? The new moon, right? That new moon signifies a new month. All right, read on.
And over sacrifices of your peace offerings,
right?
That day may be to you for a memorial before your power.
Right, so we know that we don't have those sacrifices and things at the new moon anymore. Does anybody know why? Repeat the question. The sacrifices, things that they used to have, and blowing the trumpet over the sacrifice. And why don't we have those things anymore?
Christ came and fulfilled himself.
So what?
Christ came to fulfill it. It's like a new covenant with him. Right.
Let's get on Hebrews. Was that 8? Come on. Yeah, let's get. Yeah, let's get 10 and 4.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 10 and verse 4. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats shall take away sins.
Right.
Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou what is not.
Right, sacrifice and offering thou what is not. Right? So we know that Christ was the atonement in these things, at least for this period of time until the temple is rebuilt. Right? Christ is the one that gives us our grace period. Right? Read on.
But a body hast thou prepared me,
Right?
and burnt offerings and sacrifice for sin thou hast had no pleasure.
Thou hast had no pleasure. Right? So what are we sacrificing now?
Ourselves.
Ourselves. Right? So you gotta be at the new moon, you gotta be there yourself. That's the sacrifice now. Giving your time, your energy, your effort, right? Making sure you come appropriate. Right? What you got here, brother? Jeremiah 17:5. Come on, let's look at that. Let me see what that says. It's a little reach, but we'll read it. Fine, we'll read it for you. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 5. Thus saith the Most High,
Right.
cursed be the man that trusteth in man,
Right.
and maketh flesh his arm,
Right.
and whose heart departeth from the Most High.
All right, it's a little reach, but that's wisdom that we can use, right? Not putting your trust in man, trusting in the Most High, trusting in the Lord, right? We can use that. We can go with that, right? So give me 1 Samuel chapter 15.
Is there an age limit on camp speakers?
We might need him at Kennebach. God, hallelujah. Listen, I've seen some camps do it, man. They have a time, a certain period of the month where the young brothers come out and they get on that mic, man. So think about if they're doing that from that age. Man. What type of, they would be a sharp brother, man. Right? They will understand things at that age we didn't understand at 25 and 30 years old. Right? Imagine the wisdom that comes along with understanding scriptures that young. Right? That's the benefit of teaching our children, telling them to stay in the Bible. Hallelujah. Right? That's always a good thing to see. Always a good thing to see. Right? Read what you got. What did I say? 1 Samuel.
It says 15
I think it's 22. Is that what I want?
Yes. And Samuel, the Lord has great delight in your heart.
Hold on, wait 1 second. It's blocking. Yeah, read that. Read that.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 22. And Samuel said, as the Most High has great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices,
right?
As in obeying the voice of the Most High,
right?
Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice.
Obeying is better than sacrificing, right? He said, would you rather me send up the sacrifices or would you rather me listen to the voice of the Lord thy God? It says obey is better than the sacrifices you send up. Read on.
And to hearken than the fat of rams.
And to hearken than to the fat of rams. Right? So we know that's why we don't send up these sacrifices anymore. Right? There's a ton of more scriptures we go into, but I don't want to go off on that tangent. Right? About sacrificing and why we're not supposed to be sacrificing right now. Right? We sacrifice ourselves at this point in time. Because the temple was destroyed and Christ died for those sins. Right? So let's get Isaiah 66. Did we finish Numbers 10 and 10? Yeah. So let's get Isaiah 66 to 23.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 66 and verse 23. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another,
read on,
and from one Sabbath to another,
right,
shall all flesh
right
come to worship before me,
right,
saith the Most High.
So we know when we get back into the kingdom of heaven, everybody's going to have to do these things.
Yep.
Right? Our servants are going to have to serve the Most High. They're going to have to serve us and serve the Most High in our land when the strangers have been joined with the Israelites. Right? So they're not going to be in their thing doing their own, in the closet doing their own thing or in the shed doing their own thing. They're going to have to come out and join this new moon too. All right? So we got to make sure we understand that how important these new moons are to the Most High. Everything is about worshiping the Most High. Give all the credit to the Most High. All right, when we look at the moon, the sun, the wind, the stars, the water, the ocean, the trees, the grass, right? When we look at all of these things, we got to give credit to the Most High. Because as Israelites, we don't believe in the Big Bang Theory. We don't believe two rocks collided in the middle of the universe and created all of these great things. There's no way. Right? We were talking about the animal earlier, the whale. Right? The thing about the whale, how big the whale is. Right? Only the Most High can create an animal like that. Only the Most High can create the sun and the moon. Right? They can stay these stars can stay in the same position and just stand there. Because of the Most High. It's the Most High's doing. Now they try to bring science into it. They say, oh, look, because of the gravitational pull and these things. No, it's the Most High. Right? We got to understand that. So read that again, brother.
Isaiah 66 and 23.
Right?
And it shall come to pass,
right,
that from one new moon to another,
right,
and from one Sabbath to another,
right,
shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Most High.
right. So all flesh is going to have to come worship before the Most High. All right. Give me Sirach chapter 43. Sirach 43. Let's do this. Start at verse 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 43, and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
The pride of the heights, the clear firmament, the beauty of heaven, which his glorious show.
Right.
The sun, when it appeared, declaring at his rising a marvelous instrument, the work of the Most High.
All right, so all of these things, we're going into what the Most High has created, the marvelous works, right? So when you meditate on scriptures, you really start to understand how great of a thing this was that the Most High did. All of the things that he created, right? You have to be crazy not to believe that something is there, right? Something had to create the sun and the moon. These things are of great power, right? Read on.
At noon, it parts the country,
Right.
and who can abide the burning heat thereof?
Right, so it's so hot. Who can abide the burning thereof if it's that close to you? Right? You can't touch the sun. It's too hot. Who made the sun that way? Right? Read on.
A man blowing a furnace is in works of the heat, but the sun burneth the mountains 3 times more.
Right? So it's talking about a man in a furnace, how he blows the heat when he does work. Right? It says the Most High, he does that 3 times more to a mountain. Right? That just goes to show us how small we are in comparison to the Most High. He does that 3 times more to a mountain. Right? Read on.
Breathing out fiery vapors and sending forth bright beams, it dimmeth the eyes.
Right, so you can't even look at it. You sit there and try to look at the sun, you're gonna go blind. Dimming your eyes. If you're not, sometimes it's so hot when you walk, you just gotta do like this and walk around. Right? That's what it's talking about. Who can create something so glorious? Only the Most High can do it. All right? Read on.
Great is the Most High that made it.
Great is the Most High that made it. And we got to understand how great of a power that is for him to do. All right? Read on.
And at his commandment, it runneth hastily.
Right?
He made the moon also to serve in her season.
Now he said he also made the moon to do what? Serve also for her seasons. Right? So when you follow the moon and the new moons and things of that nature, we know what season it is. You can tell what season it is just by looking at the moon. Right? You know what month it is by looking at the moon. Right? Read on.
For a declaration of time.
For a declaration of times. You can tell what part of the year you're in by looking at the moon. Read on.
And a sign of the world.
It's a sign of the world. Right? Wherever you are on this earth, you can see the moon. Right? Read on.
From the moon is the sign of feast.
From the moon is a sign of feast, just like tonight. So we know when new moon comes, we shall have that feast day. That's the new moon. All right? Read on.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection. What does that mean? All right? What does that mean? So when the moon was first created, What did it start from? Did it start from light or dark? And I don't want to go too deep into it, but does it start from? It starts from dark, right? It goes to the light, and then what has to happen? It has to decrease, right? It starts off from the darkness, goes to the light, and then it decreases. That's a whole month right there. The days don't change. It's a continuous cycle that the moon goes through, right? Read on.
The month is called after her name,
The months are called after her name. Read on.
increasing wonderfully in her changing,
Uh-huh.
being an instrument of the armies above.
Being an instrument of the armies above. The angels use the moon, right? The angels in the skies use the moon. The heavens use the moon. Read on.
Shining in the firmament of heaven.
Shining in the firmament of heaven, right? So when we look at the moon, we got to understand how important that the instrument that is that he gave us. When we look at the moon, this is for us and our understanding. When we're supposed to be doing what we need to do, right? Not Esau's calendar. Following Esau's calendar gonna jack you up. 1 month they got 31 days. Next month they got 28 days. Then you got 29 days. Then it goes to a leap year. You got this many days. No, that's going on. Because remember, what did the Bible say that the wicked of the world will do with time?
Change.
You're gonna change time. Let's prove that. Give me Daniel chapter 7. All right. We're gonna change the time. So we follow the moon. We don't follow Esau's calendar. Of course, we gotta do it for our job's sake, and we all got mortgages and rents and things of that nature, bills. All right. So we have to plan accordingly. But we don't follow them. For the seasons, we follow the moon. All right. What you got? What is that? 7:25.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25.
Uh-huh.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High,
All right.
and shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Shall wear out the saints of the Most High. Just make the saints tired, right? Tired of being abused and lied to. All right, read on.
And think to change times and laws.
And think to change times and laws. Why are they doing that? For confusion. Their job is to cause confusion in the earth. That's why they change the times, right? Mess with your mind a little bit. All right, read on.
And they shall be given into his hand
Uh-huh.
until a time and times
All right.
and the dividing of time.
All right, so it's only for a certain period of time that we'll be in this state, in this condition, right? When we're trying to function off 2 calendars at the same time, all right? 2 calendars at the same time, that's wicked. We shouldn't have to do that. All right, we should be able to understand what part of the month we're in by looking at the moon, right? How many days into the month we are by observing the moon, right? Come on, so drop that. Let's get Psalms 81. This will probably be the last one. This is the one where we usually read one. Everybody starts by 1, right?
Yeah.
1 precept. Right. So we could keep going around.
Okay.
So usually for the new moon, how we do it, everybody takes a verse, right? So for example, we're gonna start the first verse. I'll read the second verse. We'll read the third. It'll go on, and then it goes to the sisters until we finish the entire chapter. All right. This is Psalms chapter
81.
81. So like. All right, let's start.
All right. Shema, you ready?
Shema.
Psalms 81. Sing aloud unto Yahweh our strength. Make a joyful noise unto the power of Jacob.
Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp with the psaltery.
Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed, on our solemn feast day.
Well, this was a statute for Israel and a law of the power of Jacob. Call out, right?
Oh, yes.
Verse 6, I removed his shoulder from the burden. His hands were delivered from the pots.
Hallelujah.
I was in trouble, and I could remember thee. I answered thee in the secret place of thunder. I called to thee at the waters of Meribah.
Verse 8, hear, O my people, and I will testify unto thee, O Israel, if thou wilt hearken unto me.
Hallelujah.
Verse 9. Oh.
There shall no strange power, or there shall no strange God be in thee. Neither shalt thou worship any strange God.
Hallelujah.
I am the Most High thy power, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Out thy mouth, open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it.
Hallelujah.
But my people would not hearken to me, to my voice, and Israel would none of me.
Hallelujah.
So I gave them up unto their own hearts, lust, and they walked in their own counsel.
Hallelujah.
Oh, that my people had hearkened unto me, and Israel had walked in my ways.
Hallelujah.
I should soon have subdued their enemies and turned my hand to them.
Hallelujah.
The haters of the Most High should have submitted themselves unto him, but their time should have endured forever.
Hallelujah.
He should have fed them also with the finest of the wheat, and with honey out of the rock should I have satisfied thee.
Hallelujah.
Hashem, Mashiach, Yahushua, the water of God. Amen. Alright, everyone, that was a quick lesson on the new moon. You know, probably the next new moon we'll probably get more into detail, more into depth about, you know, what the things that go on, and, you know, reading the lunar Sabbath, the calendar, or whatever. But you know, that was just the basics. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna, you know, we'll send up the prayers, obviously. We'll pray over the food. What else? You know, after that, we'll kind of just walk together and brother and sister. You know, the house is open. You know, it's a Saturday night. Y'all are welcome to stay how long, you know, however long y'all want to. You know what I mean? Like I'm not kicking nobody out. In Fort Lauderdale, the school goes till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. We sit there on I'll tell the brother, it's you don't want to leave, right? It's a joyous time. Psalms 133 says how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity, right? That's a perfect example, right? So, God, hallelujah. It's a good moon. So we'll stand up, we'll send up a prayer on the floor, and we'll do some food.
Yeah. You want to do it?
Yeah.